Go.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Kenny James. I do the voice of Bowser.
I'm Mike Pollock. You might know me as Dr. Eggman from the Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Fantastic. And how did you start as Dr. Eggman?
Well, let's see. Specifically, there was an audition, as so many of these jobs begin. They were recasting the roles of the entire cast for the Sonic X series. And I'd already been doing stuff in Kirby Right Back At Ya and Ultimate Muscle and other stuff for 4Kids. And the guy producing Kirby Right Back At Ya was also producing Sonic X. And he had worked with me enough to say, we want Mike to audition for Dr. Eggman. And Mike said, okay. So they sent me clips of Dean Bristow. I'm Dean Bristow. They said, do your best Dean Bristow impression, which I didn't have until just then. So I went home and said, Dean Bristow. Auditioned once, callback second, callback third time, and finally after doing the exact same thing 3 times over, they decided, yeah, you'll do. And I've survived at least one recasting since then, so thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well, my story is similar. Audition, as usual. I came across mine completely by chance. It was accidental. I was working at my regular slave job, and somebody heard me talking about doing voice work, and she took my demo, or the address for my demo. She got it to a friend of hers at Bad Animals in Seattle, and they started sending me auditions, and one of them was for Bowser, and I thought, well, there's, what, huh? So I sent it in, and no callbacks. This is the only job I've ever done, I think, anything big, that didn't have a callback. And I got an email that said, you got this job, and I was like, what job? It's like the Bowser, and I was like, there's no way I got Bowser. And so that's how it began, and the first game was Super Mario Strikers, and been pretty much everything since.
Yes, I sometimes audition too, and sometimes I go uninvited, which is what I did when I'm sitting on the beach. I mean, many of you have heard this story before, but I'm sitting on the beach, you know, enjoying a book and watching the sun go down, and I get a page from a friend, you know, go crash this audition. And I said, there's absolutely no way I would ever crash an audition. I'm a professional actor. It would be so, where should I go? And I don't know why, but I got off the beach, brushed myself off, went in the door, and you know, and I literally met them as they were leaving. And I said, can I read for this? And it was one of those, oh. all right, come inside, we'll set the camera back up. You know, it's a real-time animation system. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn. Make up a voice, make up a video game, start talking, and when you run out of things to say, that's the end. You know, and lucky for me, I don't know when to shut up. I never did. And when I left, before I left, I heard, stop talking. Cut, there's no more tape. So that was the key to my joy of all this thing. You know, I left, I went back to the beach, and got on the phone, called Nintendo. I found our Mario. I got him. And that was the only tape that they sent up there, you know. You get so many, I mean, this is so lovely, our success and doing what we love to do. And of course, that's what we wish for everybody. Do what you love to do. And know that if you want to be an actor or voiceover talent, there is a huge amount of rejection, or at least that which appears to be rejection.
Oh, it is.
You know, it is. There's people saying we hate you. No, they're not. Because, you know, you walk into an audition and you're playing with the ball on the beach like any other dog. And sometimes they go, oh, that's exactly the dog I like. And sometimes they go, I wanted someone with purple stripes on it, you know? So you go there and you make the audition the end of it in itself, in a way, where you're just going and expressing the joy that you have, the character that you find, the eyeballs, the vision, the growl, the whatever it is, and you have fun with that. And as long as you, just like in life, as long as you're doing that from your heart, and doing it from a sense of realness, it gives you the opportunity. You know, as soon as you have the critical eye out there, you know, you sound like, no, you should sound like this, you should do this, you're gonna not get that job. But as soon as you give in and you surrender to the joy and the fun, it gives possibilities to everything. It's kind of like life. Yeah,
I think it is.
yeah. And so, I don't know if we have it set up to do questions and answers here, but I think we'd be happy to do that sort of thing if you guys want to do it. Yeah, there's a question right there.
Between the three of you, do you have any particular work that you consider to be your favorite between all the games you've worked in?
My favorite, I've stated it a couple times at my table today, actually, that same question. I liked working on 3D World because of Meowser. You guys know Meowser? That's great. Yeah, Meowser was difficult. This was one of those situations, especially with voice acting, you walk in and they go, we want you to do this. And you go, well, how do you want me to do it? They go, we don't know. So you go, okay, and you immediately the wheels start turning. And the best I could come up with was a wildcat sound mixed with the Bowser growl. And it was really difficult, just tore me up. And then when I came back and found out that the Japanese had approved it, I was very, 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 very happy. Because I came back in, we recorded most of it on Friday. I had to come back in on Monday. And I said, do I have to do the Meowser again? And they said, we're translating an email from Japan right now. And I was like, so then they said, nope, you're good to go. And I was like, all right, let's get the rest of it done then. And so that's what my favorite is. Sorry, I took it.
Oh, please. How about you?
Sure. The politically correct answer is my favorite gig is always the next one. Looking forward. You know, there are no birds in last year's nest, so look forward. But if I had to actually choose a favorite, probably Sonic Colors, where the big comedic change came in, and it was like, hey, some comedy, I can do that. Watch me. And so I had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of ad-libs that ended up on the cutting room floor, but still, no regrets. Sonic Colors.
Yeah. You know, I've done more than 100 Mario games. So, you know, there's so much joy. The joy for me of Mario 64, I've been doing improv with Mario for 5 years in a real-time animation system. So that, you know, bringing that and putting that onto tape or wherever it was at that time in 1996 was just like a great joy. But every game they record to me is like, come and play in the sandbox. It's like, yippee! That's what I do. And then Odyssey was just a great joy. You know, I walked in the studio and I looked at that, and it was just like, this game is magic. And it is. And what a joy to do that, you know? Thank you. That's a lovely question.
I'm going to say second best getting to share screen time in the Olympic Games series.
We do well, we do well. You choose who's next. Oh, you have to put on glasses. Okay, I leave mine on.
Yeah, I should. Take them off. Take them off, put them on. I should get contacts.
Who's next?
Sure. Okay, for the three of you, what is the best part about playing your characters?
What is the best part about playing your characters?
Your reaction.
Very good answer.
That's a beautiful answer.
It's a very good answer.
It's a shame that it has to wait so long, because it takes months for the game to be finished.
Yeah.
But thanks for eventually liking it.
Yeah, you know, oftentimes voices get done right at the last minute. It happens a lot with voice work. They're like, we got this finished. So sometimes I get to do it to picture, which is actually a lot of fun. It's a little different with the Mario games than anime, where you try to match lip flaps. Bowser never matches lip flaps. He just sort of Bowser-eases over it.
So what is it that you love most about the game, doing the voice?
Oh man, I like that Bowser keeps getting up. He keeps getting knocked down, and he gets back up. And then next game, he's there again. He's got Peach again. He won't give up, you know? He's just not gonna give up.
It's a funny thing, you know, when you play a character, he's always the hero of the game. You know,
Right.
What you do is the hero. And it's the same thing in life, you know, to speak of compassion and passion with people. It's like you have to empathize with this character no matter who it is. So you play with a sense of intimacy into that character, and it has to be real, no matter whether it's growling or talking or joking or, you know, woo, it has to be real. So, I mean, for me, the most fun thing is, you know, I love what I do. And to play Mario and just be pure joy and pure love and pure fun, nothing could be more joyful for me than that. You know, but I'll say the same thing about every character. I love it. Love, love, love it. That's what I wish for everybody. You know, we are so lucky because we found success and work doing what we absolutely love to do. You know, and those of you who might be electricians don't get to hear, hey, thanks so much for that plug. Every time I plug it in, I get toast in the morning. But it's true, we need more gratitude in our world and more joy. So thank you for whatever you do, and I hope that it brings you the same joy that it brings us to do what we do. Really do. Cheers.
Yes, Black and Gray, sure.
Yes. For the three of you, amongst your career as these characters, what would you say has been your biggest challenge?
Okay, what is our biggest challenge in our career as the characters that we do?
Finding that next gig. An endless cycle of auditions. It's part of the job, and it's at the same time the best and worst part of the job. Again, another, it's gonna get ignored again. Hello, I'm auditioning now, and I feel great about it. It's the constant chase for work, and the reward of booking a role makes all that worthwhile.
I really like the challenge of surviving the recording session. It's a really insane voice to do. I've run across a lot of people who actually are shocked that Bowser was a real person doing it. I mean, it's an odd thing, and to survive a 2-hour session of growling and just screaming growls, I'm always glad. Yeah, it's like I get up the next day, I go, can I talk? Why, yes, I can. Yeah, surviving the sessions makes me happy.
This is a universal thing, by the way. I'm sure we all go through it. It's you just, you know, I drink like 60 gallons of water in a session. You're like, okay, hold on. And you want to be consistent. You want to do it right. And you want to survive. You want to make sure that it lasts all the way through.
Oh yeah, you got to take careful steps sometimes. I push in too hard, and you know, just got to back up a little bit and just throttle it.
Yeah, and so much of acting is that too. You know, you learn technique to protect your voice. You learn all the things to make sure that you're able to continue and do your work. And if you start forgetting, you can rely on your technique. But then too, at the same token, the very technique that you know is what you let go of when you're actually doing the job. You let go and you become the character. So it's an interesting sort of like mix that you go through all the time. For me, the joy of just, it's so multiple-fold, and I know this is all true for all of us, is doing the job. You know, finding you got the job, getting the email, the phone call, the text message. It's like, yippee! Different voices, you know, and then going there and getting there and doing it, seeing the copy and devouring the joy, the fun of the image and the spoken word and the sound. And then, you know, honestly, it's such a joy to meet people, to meet you who appreciate our work. We're in such a unique, wonderful position, which is why I always say, thank you. Thank you for enjoying what we do, because we sure do.
Yes, Mr. Martinet, what is your opinion on Waluigi's inclusion in Smash Bros?
No comment. Purple people right there. Which purple people? Well, both of you. You both get a question.
Simultaneously go.
Okay, I'll go first. You go first. Okay, with the upcoming Mario and Sonic animated movies that are coming out, how honored do you feel that you guys might be in a motion picture?
Well, of course, we can't comment on anything to do with any future project. As I mentioned earlier, we just can't do that because we have non-disclosure, and we have the honor of with our companies, too.
And remember, fiction relies on the element of surprise, so... Surprise!
It would be a tremendous honor and a joy to do that, but we love all of our work, but of course, that would be really a joy.
And working is always better than not working.
It is. You speak truth. This man knows truth. He's literate. And you?
My question, for all of the roles you've all played, which character do you relate the most and which one's your favorite?
Which do you relate to the most and which is your favorite of each of us? Okay, who wants to start?
I will start. The 3 roles I played in Sonic Boom, the cartoon, which you should like better than the game, apparently. That's only an observation, it's not an opinion. With Dr. Eggman, getting out the anger, which I have a little too much of sometimes. It's very cathartic to be able to yell for fun and profit. The persnickety know-it-all of 50th Fever, getting to correct everyone all the time, that's a large part of me as well. And the incompetence of the man. I'm a little incompetent sometimes.
That's terrific.
Well, I'm mostly known for Bowser, but if you wanted to pick something that's favorite, one of the things that I like to do the most, I do a lot of theater. It's community theater, but a lot of it, and a lot of times now they come to me to record voiceover for either intermission or actually something that's happening in the show. And I have a lot of fun doing that because, for one thing, there's no real pressure. But they'll come to me and go, well, when we go to intermission, because this is based on around a story of air travel, we want the intermission announcements to be like the captain of an airliner. So I'll be all like, all right. So I go into my booth and I just like, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of fun. As far as Bowser, though, I'm going back to Meowser.
I love all the characters. It's so much fun. But I love Mario because the joy, the fun, the happiness. I tend to be more Luigi, a little more tentative. My brother was more like Mario. I mean, he'd see a plate glass window and run straight through it, Like No, I was very lucky growing up. Okay, who gets to choose next? You get to choose next.
Sure. The Black Hat Society.
Thank you. I guess this is mainly for Mr. Martinet, but it can apply to all of you. For the characters that you've done for however many years, they kind of change. Sometimes the way the voice sound changes over time. What goes in? Does that just happen organically, or is that a decision that you make? Like
Anything sort of decisions can be made by the producer, the director of a particular project to direct you more into one direction or another, and your job is to do it, and hopefully it's intentional always.
It can be either. I've had both the director say for the early days of Dr. Eggman, for example, which is all down here in New Bristol, we want something with a little more range for comedy. And they gave me the reference of Martin Short's Jiminy Glick character, who starts to laugh high and then goes way down low. There were a lot of peaks and valleys in Eggman that weren't there. And then sometimes with for example, the New Bristol voice as well, it's hard to do this for several hours at a time, so I would just gradually work into something more comfortable vocally. Nobody complained. And that's it.
Well, sometimes you can get away with it. Away with whatever you can.
Okay, Red Hat.
Me?
Yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Pollock. How did you get involved in that one animated movie, Ratatouille?
Just like every other gig, an audition. There's a company that he's not known for his high standards, he's not known for being a people person, but he is known for handing you a check when you leave. There's something to be said for that. So he auditions, he specializes in keeping a very tight budget. He will do jobs for not very little. He will sometimes pay not very little, but again, paying instantly. There's something to be said for that. That's a few bucks I didn't have before. And this was just another audition. Can we read for this? Okay. Read for it. They liked it. 2 hours, it was done.
I think they say bada bing, bada boom. How about somebody in the far back in the blue shirt? Kind of looks like tie-dye from here, but I'm old. Now you, yeah. Between the three of us, which character would we be best at in an Olympic game? That's a very, very good question. Very interesting. Something I've never thought of before.
I'm going to say Dr. Eggman would be best at luging because there's not a lot of movement.
You know what's really funny? I'm going the opposite. I was going to say, well, Bowser's out for luge because of too many spikes. There's a drag coefficient problem there. To come up with something he'd be good at? Man, I can't even a mat pole vault.
I was going to say pole vault.
Yeah, you have the advantage on that, that's for sure.
Thank you for that. Yeah, the triple jump. I'll do the jump.
Yeah, there you go. Jump off, Captain.
That's right. Great. Okay, who's next?
Oh, let's see. Let's go with the sword.
Sword.
What would you do if you were asked to voice Mario? Charles, what would you do if you were asked to voice Bowser? And for Mr. Eggman, what would you do if you were asked to voice Sonic?
So, what would you do if you were asked to voice me? What would I do if I was asked you? What would you do if you asked that?
Well, I would say call Charles.
You know, I'm the same way. You know, I don't do other people's work.
No, I feel like if you were asked to voice that character.
You mean if he had never done it?
Yeah, like what interpretation would you go with?
Oh wow!
No idea.
That's really a hard question.
Yeah.
Because we're so the voice is so in your head the way it exists now that it's really hard to think of doing it. How would I do it? I would. My brain would instantly try to do what he does because I already know that. So I don't know. That's really difficult. But yeah, that's kind of his thing to do.
And it also sort of like you're asking us to kind of go across a line that you know as an actor you don't do, and at the same time you know it's sort of like I honor the work that he does and the work that he does. I don't want their job. I want to do my job, you know? But it's an interesting concept.
There was an episode of Sonic Boom called The Meteor where that's exactly what happened. Sonic and Eggman switched bodies. And so I had to do Roger Craig Smith's Sonic and he had to do my Dr. Eggman. It was weird. I script a couple days in advance and I said, what? How are we going to do this? Got into the room and, okay, so you're each going to do his other's voices. Okay. Hi, I'm Sonic. I'm cool and fast now.
Oh dear. Who's next? Who's going to be next? You decide. You decide.
I'll decide. I've got to go with full body. Sonic. Oh, your hand is not raised now.
My question was how you felt about doing the meteor work.
All right. Second choice, right next door. Yes,
yeah, my question is particularly for Kenny, but Charles, you can chime in if you want.
Okay.
This happened in several Mario games, particularly Mario Luigi, Paper Mario, Mario Rabbids, and Mario Odyssey. Is Bowser getting tired of getting possessed and controlled all the time?
Is Bowser getting tired of being possessed and controlled all the time?
I'll tell you, Bowser just goes with the flow. He's getting out of it and goes. That's pretty much it.
He's such a great character, and I love the voice that you do. He's really so fantastic. You know, we don't get to really work together because that's the way sessions nowadays, you know, and when you're doing a cartoon, you get to play with people usually. And sometimes you don't. You never see these people. We crossed like paths once. 10 years ago, 9 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how long
like,
ago.
Hi, you know, it's like, you know, you're checking out, there was a Flintstone episode like that, you know, with the monster.
Morning, Sam, morning,
Yeah, I came out of the studio, I was in the lounge, Charles walked in for his session. We chat a little bit over the table, and then whoop, he goes in. I go home. And until today, we haven't met again since.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I love to hear people's work. I love actors, and I think, you know, you're an actor's actor, you're an actor's actor. I'm just a guy that gets to play around and be silly, but I think of myself a bit as an actor. But I love actors because they're always creative. They're always looking for something fun and genuine and joyful. It's just a great life.
One of the coolest things in the 4Kids days, when it was very much scheduled like the doctor's office appointments, you know, you're here 2 hours, then 2 more hours, and someone else comes in. So being able to show up a little early, sneak into the studio, and see somebody else doing what they're doing, it's really cool.
It is.
Like, oh my God, this is like Logical doing it. Oh wait, that's what I do.
See, that's what I was hoping for that day that I knew you were going to be in the room. I was like, well, I hope I get there before he does. But instead, I think I was the first session, and I think you were next, and then I think Peach was next. That was after you,
I think so. Yeah.
But I was like, oh man. So I could have stuck around, but I had to catch a ferry.
Yeah. And you know, in the old days too, just as actors, you always went into your agent's office to read a voiceover. Or you went to like a group call to do a video thing for a film or a TV show. So you always got to be with actors, you know? They were your friends, they were, you know, and then you do your audition, and then you go have coffee, and then have some more coffee, and then have some more coffee, have some coffee, you know, and just talk and just have fun and do story. It's like campfire, you know? And nowadays, you know, you get on this thing. I do national broadcast quality telephone, voice work on my iPhone, you know? So I do it under the covers in my hotel room. You know, so I don't get to see anybody anymore, except in shows like this.
And even if the group calls where everyone's waiting to audition, they're all on their phones anyway. So
That's right. Different world. Okay. How about in the black shirt right there with your hand high up? Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was wondering if the process for voicing Mario and Bowser was different in the classic Mario game as opposed to something more intense, like, say, Super Smash Bros., where you have a lot of growling and fighting going on.
Well, you know, intensity-wise, I mean, before my reign began, you know, the voice was different. I've had people bring it up, you know, Super Mario Sunshine, you know, and I'm like, that wasn't me. I did have, that's what they sent me for reference tracks when I auditioned, and I kind of played off of it. My audition was rougher, which apparently they liked, because it's gotten even more intense as time goes on. When I walk in there now, I fully expect to blow myself to pieces in 2 hours. And like I said before, so far, I've been able to hang on. And I love it because I can hang on. I was in a band, I was in several bands, and I had a lead guitar player guy that hired me for this band, and he thought my voice was indestructible. And I've proven otherwise, but it's close. But yeah, intensity-wise, Bowser just continues to get more intense as the games continue to get more intense.
I know in Strikers it was, I think, the most intense thing, but you know, as Smash Brothers, more intense. You just, you know, it's like a toolbox. You know, you pull out a screw gun or a hammer. You know, you just learn how to ratchet yourself to the craft part that you're doing, right?
And never show the pain. Fine, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Like, you want to take a break? And like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And you also have to, like in all things in life, respect yourself and respect your instrument. I was doing a game once, and it was very intense. And the director wanted to do 3 series of 3, but the script was that fat, and that meant 3 series of 3. That's 9, and then he was going to listen to it, and then we're going to do another set of 3 series of 3s. That was his, you know, pre-direction, and it's like, it's all screaming. The whole game was screaming. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have a responsibility to my instrument and to the people. If Nintendo calls me up and says, I want you to do something, and the next week, if I destroy my voice, I won't be able to do that. And this is what he said. You're welcome to call my agent, but I mean, he's going to protect me on this. I'm happy to do a series of 3, and I'll give you a variety, and then you tell me which of those 3 you like, and I'll do another set of 3 until we get exactly what you want. But I don't want to destroy myself. So I did that, and I've never worked for the company again, and it's a very big company. But another guy, there's a wonderful actor, voice actor, he just did it. He bled from his vocal folds, and he had to go to the doctor and could not speak for 1 month and could not work for 3 months. So, in all things in life, always respect yourself. Always look for, okay, I want to push myself because we're all dogs. Go get the ball. No, that's a shark out there. I'm like, get it yourself, pal. But the rest of the party's like, go get the ball. Boom. So you always have to sort of like, it really is important to respect yourself. Kind of like life. Oh, how about way back in the back with big hair? You got gray hair. What's the most out-of-character thing we've ever done for any sort of media? I can answer that really fast if you don't mind. Absolutely never, under any condition, would I destroy my reputation or the value of that character by doing anything that is not characteristic of that. I have such love for my work and such love for the character. These people are real to me. Mario is as real as you are to me. I love this guy. I wouldn't ever do anything that didn't match full-heartedly with his heart. That's my opinion.
I've learned when meeting up with people at events such as these that there are those who want me to say things. There is also what's called editing and dubbing things over and other things. No.
Out of character, huh? What is something I've done that's out of character? Well, I think it has nothing to do with video games. It goes back to theater, and it was playing a part in Evita, and it was a lot unlike me. It was the tango singer. And so I was like, really? I'm gonna be the tango singer. So sing that part, and it was just not me. I was a rock singer. So I'm like, hey, look at me now. I'm some, tango singer. But you make it work.
Yeah, that's a different interpretation of the question, but that's yeah, right on.
Yeah, one of the joys of doing this is I've just a few weeks ago was doing the voiceover for a cancer drug trial. Completely serious. Not as Dr. Eggman, obviously. Just straight generic announcer guys announcing multisyllabic chemical names. This is a cool part of this gig.
Yeah, those are tough too. Yellow cube.
Twister.
I would love to hear Martinet and Mike speak in the other character's voice using their own character. So in a Mario voice, try to do the same idea.
I so thoroughly appreciate that, Joy. And the wonderful thing about creativity is it inspires creativity and makes you want to, play in the Play-Doh. But I was mentioning earlier, we really have to honor our contracts that we signed with the company. And if we're violating that contract, we don't deserve to have the job. So we have to be very careful about that sort of thing. Am I right? I mean, it's like we just don't, it's a wall we wouldn't cross. And also, I honor this guy so much and this guy so much. I would never deign to try to play that character.
Every gig is a precious gift, like you're carrying, well, I guess for lack of a better words, you're carrying an egg. Treat it with care.
We relate everything in our lives.
Yeah, it all circles back.
It just bounces off my shell.
How about that Mario had a guy right there? We have to ask you a question for everybody.
Alright, out of all the roles that any of you have gotten, what's the one you could consider the weirdest that you've ever done?
I hate to call it weird, but a little green dragon named Zingo that read Bible stories to children. They were little short Bible stories, less than 5 minutes apiece. And I did a whole series of them for a big church. I think it was in North Carolina. And it was Zingo. Hi, kids. You know, that was it. I was Zingo the Dragon. So that's mine.
I certainly want to hear the Bible read by a dragon.
Little Bible stories.
I at this very moment, it's been an apparently endless series of things, a series of church videos from a weird Chinese church. Cult might be a word that might enter your mind, but not mine necessarily. And it's videos that are probably not watchable by anyone, both because you wouldn't want to and because you probably can't, but I guess you can, don't look for them. They're just people sitting around discussing the Bible and then arguing with people who don't agree with them and being persecuted. And it pays when you leave.
The weird game that I remember there was like when the early days of memory, I did so many games where you concatenated things, the lion lives in Africa and eats meat, but even before that, there were like very small chip games, and it was called something like Tank Battle or something like that, and I was the only person that recorded, and I had to die more than 125 times. And it's if I went like that, oh, that's way too long. Can you make it shorter? So how many times you get a guy going, now you're shot in the chest. Okay, now you're shot in the arm. Now you're very weird day. I also do this thing, I was a guy stuck in a trash can, and I was like, hey, get me out of the trash can. And of course, friends of mine went to the tourist shops in San Francisco, bought them, and invited me over so I could hear it. Every chance I could, Wow. Am I picking? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I like the stuffed animal person.
Hi. Well, that's what we're not really allowed to do. I'm sorry, we're just really not allowed to do things that are outside the realm of our true characters and the true heart of our character. But again, I appreciate that creative desire and joy.
Yeah, in that vein, it's slightly easier for me. He's got a thinner line to walk. Because Bowser doesn't speak English. So when people ask, hey, can you say, Bob was here? I'll go.
Maybe to answer questions like that, you can speak in your Mario Luigi.
Yeah, well, no, I stay consistent with the character. There's a hat in the air there. Oh, there's a hat in the air there. That hat, then that hat. How about your hat?
Okay.
Cappy.
Okay.
Cappy, start with Cappy, and then go to the other cap.
This is mainly directed towards Charles. Now I know you've worked with real-time equipment before, right?
Yeah.
Now there's this convention called E3, and I'm not asking you to say any lines from this, but I saw this video. And you did a bunch of impressions like Darth Vader as Mario. I'm not saying do it, but
yeah.
And I thought it was kind of funny. But there's also
Luigi. Stop saying I'm not your papa, little brat. I chopped off your head with my lightsaber. Nah, you're not my papa. All right, take that. Chop. I'll be doing that in the last week of July, the first week of August at the Nintendo New York store. And again at Christmas time, except instead of having a supercomputer this big with dry ice on top of it, keeping it cool, I have two laptops now, two Apple laptops, that go blah, 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 blah. And it now, instead of tracking my face movement through glued contacts and roller balls, hockey mask and surgical tape and surgical glue. He goes, when I go ooh, the character goes ooh, ah. And it's a genius because it really follows the tracking of every mouth and every when you make a sound. So it's quite brilliant.
And my phone still can't make calls, so I don't.
Okay, now the gray cat guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, gray cat. First was Cappy, then the gray cat guy. Gray cat guy.
For Charles and Kenny, what are your thoughts on the ending for Super Mario Odyssey?
There's an ending? I gotta tell you, I in these games, I can usually find out that the princess is not in this castle. I never reach it to the end, but I thought it was a fascinating ending, and I would never tell anybody what it is.
I just know that I lose.
How about there? You got a little. Yeah, sure.
For the three of you, what would you say is your favorite line that you've had to read for like any of your
games?
Have I said it? I have said things in English. Yeah, that's. See, he knows.
Sorry.
Showtime turned out really good. It says Showtime.
And just like this encapsulates the character for me. Artexigo!
Can I remember? That's probably the question. Mine are probably noises, just because the reactions that I get to do are sometimes even more fun. So right now I've got some truck drivery sounding guys, and they like to say, "Huh?" It says so much without saying anything at all.
It's the simple things.
It is the little things like, it's like, don't you find, oftentimes I find that in a session, I will be laughing and nobody else is laughing.
Exactly. They're watching the clock. Could you stop laughing, please?
Kind of like life.
Let's move on to line 12. And you're like, what? So you got enough of that? I'll crack myself up from some of the gurgly, weird sounds that I make.
I have only once had someone tell me, "Stop having so much fun, please."
Okay. There's something up in the air. It looks like a water bottle.
It is a water.
Yay!
All right. So, for all of you, out of all the games you've voiced in, which one would you say is like the least favorite?
Least favorite game we've ever voiced. That's so easy. I love every single game. I don't have a least favorite. I don't have a most favorite. To me, the one I just did is the star of my heart. So that's just the way life is for me. It's such a gift that I don't have a judgment. How about you guys? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I have to glom onto his answer because I've loved every single thing that they've recorded me for. And whether it was, you go to Super Mario Strikers, there really wasn't much Bowser in that, but it was the first thing that I did, and so I love it.
The least favorite game is the one that someone else does.
Finally, a true answer.
That's great.
Very true.
That's so great. How about that game up in the air?
Okay, back in 1998, back in your time, you originally auditioned to voice Link, and when me and Mo were judges said, well, Link doesn't really have a voice, just as a grunt. What was your role originally going to be? What was it going to be like?
That's a lovely question. Somebody actually does that voice. I didn't audition for it. I just sent messages saying, if you ever want a voice, I'd be happy to do it. I mentioned it one time. Was it 1998? So more than 20 years ago. Yeah. And it was like, thank you, but we already have the person we want. So I don't like just like this. I don't do. I just did that.
We're not used to these microphone devices.
What is this thing doing in my face? 5 minutes. Oh, 5 minutes. I thought they were saying hi. 3 minutes. Okay, good.
Time flies.
I have time to tell you a fire story.
lives.
I just really want to hear that now.
And the rough tracks.
How about the captain hat guy?
Okay, so like, how often do your respective game companies bring you in to record new lines, or do they just reuse the same stuff for a lot of?
How often? Well, I would say we're always being called in. We're always being called in to do new stuff. So that just adds to the heaping joy of it, you know, and the Olympics and all the games. We just get to go in and play. And it's the greatest thing in the world. It's like, come and play in our sandbox. That's why that question, what's your least favorite? It's like, every time you play in a sandbox, it's fun.
Yeah, like Mike says, you know, it's like, it's just good that they called me back.
Yeah.
And being the joy of being a freelancer is there are dozens of clients, so somebody's always calling me. It may not be who you hope is calling me, but I'm happy that someone's calling.
Is this the last question?
I've got one.
Could be two.
Could be two. Okay. Yes, what's your question? No, sorry. Use that.
1 minute per question, go.
Hey, the guy in the red way back there, you're reaching so high. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, my question is, this is probably the most original question I ever asked. Have you ever played your own games that you worked on before?
We can't hear you right now. Hang on. We can't hear you. What was the most enjoyable to do? Yes.
Of course.
Tomorrow.
He's very much about the future. All of them. Everything. I just want to keep doing.
What's not to like?
Right. What's not to like?
Yeah.
What's not to like? You know, if we just maybe what we rather than take another question, let me just say again, thank you very much. I know we didn't. The very best, the very much happiness and joy. May you find what you love to do and pursue it doggedly without compromise.
That's how you succeed.
If you want to do this, wait a minute. Shameless plug, Penny and I are signing at 6 and Charles is signing at 6.
Oh, that's right, we're signing. Yeah, we're going to go right now and sign, huh?
We sign at 6, you sign at your place.